Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Ashley Mailloux, taking a look at the feature race at Del Mar on Sunday. Let's start up the field. Grade 3 best pal, 2-year-olds going 3/4 of a mile. We've got 5 in here, 2 trained by Doug O'Neill. The horse on the outside trained by Bob Baffert. That's Getaway Car. Visually impressive debut winner. I'm expecting him to go off favorite.
Absolutely. I don't think there's any situation where he doesn't go off favorite in here. And looking at the group, I mean, you have horses for Doug O'Neill. One was third in the Bashford Manor. The other one was able to win on debut, but that was on the turf. We'll have to see if that transforms to the dirt. And I guess the unknown in here is White Sands and what Wesley Ward and these connections are going to do, because this one is cross-centered in the stake on Saturday against the girls. And if she goes here, she'll be tackling the boys for not the first time in her career, though, the second.
And she's a beautifully bred daughter of Into Mischief, a half-sister to the crack sprinter Jackie's Warrior, and she'll show pace if she runs here or if she runs in the Sorrento. Let's throw up the Timeform US pace projector. White Sands is quick. Timeform US has Getaway Car quicker, and I think that really says a lot about Getaway Car's debut performance. Visually impressive, solid figure, and drawing outside White Sands. If White Sands runs here, it gives Hernandez options.
It does. And maybe it ends up being that Hernandez and Getaway Car, they're tracking in second. If White Sands really wants to lead, they can let her go and then they can tuck in. But if she doesn't go here, there's a chance that Getaway Car does just that, gets away from everyone in here.
If the pace does heat up, keep an eye on the 1, Ivan the Great. While Ivan the Great is still a maiden, and we'll start a discussion with him, he's got the fastest Timeform US late pace rating. Ivan the Great ran really well in his debut. It just missed, and I like that Doug O'Neill showed a lot of confidence. Lightly raced 2-year-old, chipping him all the way across the country to run in the Bashford Manor, a very fast-paced race. I thought he had a good closer's trip, but I also think he gained a lot of experience from that performance.
And he was a horse that, at least when we look at these 4.5 furlong, 5 furlong debuts out in California, was able to close from off of it. Only had one horse beaten early on, missed by a nose. And then, as you've mentioned, had the confidence to ship this one out. And I think it was a good third. Politically Correct was much the best in there, winning by 5 lengths. But this is a horse that was going from 4.5 to 6 furlongs. And again, I think the closing style helped him. Does it help him in this spot if it's a short field? I'm not sure. We talk about this all the time in these short fields, Dan, that it can just become a tactical rider's race, and he might not get the setup that he needs. There's just not enough horses in there. But I don't think there's anything bad about his last effort. The Bashford Manor was also a very big field this year.
O'Neill also trains his next door neighbor in the starting gate, the number 2, Tis Happy, coming off of a debut win on the grass. We're going to watch that race right now. And when you look at his pedigree, he's by Run Happy out of a Tis Now mare. To me, that screams dirt. And Tis Happy was able to get this job done, pressing the pace. The favorite is on the lead and digging, and Tis Happy always finds a little bit more. He's still green. He's going to be facing faster horses while switching surfaces, but I think there's something here with this guy.
And if you think the pedigree screams dirt, does he take a big step forward on the surface switch? If you backed him on his debut, you got a nice return, right? 9-1 in that spot. And I liked that he had a target throughout. He had someone to chase in there and was able to do so. Sometimes they get away from you. It wasn't the case. He had enough left late. And I don't think there's going to be an issue for him going from 5/8 to 6 furlongs, especially on the surface switch. And you just wonder, with this field, with it being compact, he probably has the jump on his stablemate, and not that his stablemate has done anything wrong. I just think Tis Happy might be in a little bit better of a spot early.
I really liked your analysis of White Sands in our Sorrento Stakes preview, also available on the DRF YouTube channel. I still think there are a lot of questions with White Sands. She's looked the goods in her first 2 starts, but you mentioned she debuts at Belterra, then she runs against the boys in the Prairie Gold Juvenile, the race we're going to show you right now. She wins by the length of the stretch, but who's she been facing?
That's the question. I mean, at least she did face male rivals last time out. And I brought up the whole fact that she did race at Belterra Park. And by no means is that necessarily rare for Wesley. He will take horses, as he's not that far from Belterra, being right outside of Cincinnati. And he'll race there. He has no problem doing so. And actually, just kind of looking at the last 5 years, he's had 74 starts at Belterra. So it's not weird, but I just feel like typically when he's sending horses there, it's because he doesn't think they're necessarily the same level. And then maybe they had different thoughts after that performance. No, the buyer wasn't flashy, but she opened up on the field and made it look really easy. And then they said, let's go for a stakes race against the boys. And she does it again, and it was even easier. So I wonder if she's just, really exceeding their expectations from a pedigree perspective. Into Mischiefs, they're nothing to shy at. They're very expensive, right? $250,000 is that stud fee. But Very curious just to know if she'll even be in the spot. We know she has the early foot. I'm not necessarily scared of her facing male rivals, but it's going to be up to those connections to figure out probably what the best option for her is in terms of the depths of each of these groups.
The 4 Mischief River is also by Super Stallion Into Mischief. She sold for a pretty penny earlier this year, $500,000, and she looked good in her debut at Los Alamitos. So while that race was at 5/8 of a mile, I wonder if maybe because of the stretch being that long, it plays a little bit longer, and she'll be really fit for this 3/4 of a mile effort. That's 71 by her speed figures, nothing to sneeze at.
Now, we might sound broken records, both of us, when we talk about Los Al, but the stretch run really is super important, especially for a horse on debut. And I completely share your sentiments that I think it's a good performance considering how long she was on a straightaway there for and has a lot to do to get to the wire and ended up being able to clear that group. I also think it's worth noting that compared to some others in here, at least it was a bigger field. That certainly adds to the dimension there. She was a price there. I should say he was a price there. And I do think just with names such as Bob Baffert's horse in here, the Doug O'Neill's, this horse could potentially offer some value.
And Getaway Car completes the field. He's the marquee name in here for Baffert, a $700,000 son of Curl. And the dam was quick and precocious, so a nice mixture of stamina over speed. Plenty of class shown in the debut for Getaway Car. Now, just looking over the charts of the races at Del Mar, and on this day, speed did very, very well. But watch Getaway Car's stretch run. Hernandez is really just not urging this horse much. This is as handily as it gets. Impressive performance visually, a lot of speed, and a 76 buyer tops of the field.
You mentioned Juan Hernandez. Looks, he doesn't see anyone really making up ground and doesn't have to get into Getaway Car. And to me, it looks more like a paid workout than anything when you kind of look at that performance. And I think it begs the question, what can Getaway Car do if this horse is hounded early or just has to kind of really use what he has? I just think based on that performance alone, something even a touch better than that performance probably puts him in the winner's circle. And visually out of the wins, one of the most impressive ones that I think we saw out of these younger horses the last couple of days at Del Mar.
Let's take a look at our top picks for the best pal. And Getaway Car is, in my opinion, is simply the horse to beat. I'm interested to see what we get from Mischief River. Tis Happy as well, just switching surfaces. Maybe offer some value to get behind Getaway Car.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think that's the thought process for us, right? We're looking for prices underneath. We don't know what White Sands is going to do in here. I just thought if you're looking for value, it's not on the top spot. It has to be in the exotics. And I like Tis Happy on that surface switch. I thought this horse raced really well last time out on the turf and maybe can take a huge step forward.
We'll see if Baffert has another live 2-year-old with the 5 Getaway Car, the likely favorite in the Grade 3 Best Pal at Del Mar on Sunday. It's race number 3. Best of luck.